I hope you love Hoyas because that is what we're going to talk about today. This entire video is dedicated to the Hoyas that I have. Grab a cup of coffee, grab a cup of tea, because we're going to have a chat. I will say that my plant journey is still a bit new, so the Hoya I have in my collection, I have gotten them as starter plants. There has been a few I have received as like a 4-inch pot plant, but most of my Hoyas have started as a starter. So some of them are not so big, some are getting big. I really do enjoy having Hoyas around. They seem to be solid plants and I've not had a pest on them yet. I really hope I never have to deal with mealybugs on them or flat mites or whatever else that can happen on them. I'm going to start with the oldest to newest in the collection. The first one we have is the Hoya Silver Splash. I purchased most of my plants online, so I went on Etsy and I got the names of all my plants. And this one, I featured it in my second video on YouTube and I called it a Hoya Pubicalyx Splash, and it's not that. It's a Silver Splash, which is giving me really nice silvery splashes and like pink splashes, so very nice. Okay, so this plant, let's talk about it. I got this plant about a year and a half ago. It's done really well for me, but I will say when I did get it and I had to repot it, I repotted this in a terracotta pot, and within a day all the leaves, I didn't have all this foliage yet, but the bottom leaves that I had, they all looked wrinkly and was really pliable and flexible. There was no longer, it didn't look like the waxy plant that is here right now. There was no shine to it. I questioned their terracotta pot of putting it in there because I've seen a lot of people put Hoyas in terracotta pot with no problem. So I left it in there for about a week and I did not like what it was doing. I guess it was drying out too quickly, but I watered it and then I was afraid of overwatering it. So I took it out of the terracotta pot and I put it in this plastic pot actually. And since then, I've not had the problem with the leaves just getting really dehydrated. So I've left it in there. I don't have any plants in terracotta anymore since that incident. I did pot other plants in the terracotta pot and the same thing happened to the leaves. It really dehydrated the leaves and made them lifeless. So since then, no more terracotta for me. Plastic pots is what I do. So this one, the roots look so nice. I'm not going to repot this year. I'm going to leave it in this pot. I'm trying to see if I can get it to bloom. I'm not sure if I do that by leaving it root bound or giving it a bigger pot, but it's not really root bound in here, as you can see. It's good distribution of roots, and yeah, I really like this plant. Give this plant a lot of light and it splashes for you. Put it on a trellis since it started giving me a lot of vines, and once I put it on a trellis it started growing leaves for me. I would say the minute the vine felt that there was a backing to it, the leaves started getting bigger. So the leaves when they come in, it's really delicate. There's another shoot coming out here and I think I intentionally, I'll try to get the nodes to feel that there was some support on the trellis, and it started giving me a lot of leaves. So yay for this. But this is the Hoya Silver Splash. So the next plant I have is the Hoya Carnosa Compacta, and what you're saying is, yeah, it's a terracotta pot. Yeah, no, it's not. It's plastic pot inside. It's just this is quite top heavy, so I need a heavier cash pot to hold the plant. So this plant started as a starter plant for me a year and a half ago, and this is where we're at. And I know you're gonna say this grown a lot for me with these two. No, this has grown. I think if you look right here, this is where the starter plant was at when I got it, and then it grew this for me. And this too right here, I bought cuttings last year, and I rooted the cuttings and then I stuck it in a pot because I'm trying to get a fuller plant. That is what I do when I get a plant that I really love. I tend to get more plants of the same cut that are cuttings to put in the pot to make it a fuller pot. But I want to get this into a fuller pot on this year, so I might cut it and root it. I'm not sure. I don't know. I love what this plant is doing. I have this idea of wrapping this plant up on maybe a cork bark or something like that. You know those cork barks that you get in the reptiles terrarium? I was thinking of doing something like that to this plant because usually they're hanging plants, but I find having it trail up would be just so pretty. I might try that. So yeah. I I see some roots on the bottom, so I might consider I'm not gonna repot it, but I might consider taking the whole plant out and then putting a little bit more soil on the bottom and putting it back in the same pot. So that's another trick that I do when I get a plant in a pot like this. I don't fill the pot all the way to the top with the intention of adding more soil to the bottom later on, so I can leave it in this pot for a while. That is something that I personally like to do with certain plants. So yeah, it is so pretty, so shiny, and so nice and green. It is quite a fast growing plant for me. I did put this in a terracotta pot as well, and it stopped growing. It kind of sucked it sucked the leaves got dehydrated on this plant, and I had to put it in a plastic pot. I really love it. It's like I can wear this as a necklace. It's a Carnosa necklace. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be a craft. I'm gonna turn this. Oh my, I can't turn every plant into a craft, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna turn this into a craft. Okay, another crafty project for me. If you guys been on my Instagram lately, you know I've been trying to craft a spiral cactus from fabric. So I might try to craft a carnosa from fabric next project. So we'll see. Carnosa sits in the IKEA greenhouse with the intention of giving it really great humidity, so it can just continue to grow for me. But I'm actually going to move it out of the cabinet this summer to acclimate it to the outside of the cabinet. So we'll see how that goes. But I hope this blooms for me. I've not had any Hoya blooms yet, and I'm just so sad by that. I really want to have some Hoya blooms, but maybe this year I will. So yeah, we'll see. All right, beautiful plant. So the next plant I have is the Hoya Carnosa Compacta variegated. This plant is the variegated version of the last plant you saw. When I pulled this plant for this video, I realized it was really dry, so I watered it. You don't want your Hoyas to dry out too much. But this plant, see how small it is. It's a slow growing plant. I would say it's grown about 5 inches since I got it. I got it the same time I got the green one. And you see how much the green one has grown for me. This one's not grown so much. I'm hoping the variegation stays. Actually, I ordered some more plants, and one of the plants that I ordered was not available anymore. The nursery emailed me and asked if I wanted another plant, and I looked on their site and they had a 4-inch pot for the variegated compacta. So I just said, I'll just take that one. I'll be able to pot them up together and then have a fuller plant. This started giving me growth last year when I started fertilizing it in summer. So I fertilize it every water, but I used a different fertilizer, and I think that's kind of what did it. It started growing for me. So I'm excited to see it grow more because we have, a vine. You usually get a stem before you get leaves for Hoyas. I'm very excited for it to continue growing. So the next plants Oh no. Okay, is the Hoya Linearis. It is so pretty. This is one of the hanging Hoyas. I don't know, is it the only hanging Hoya? No, I can't. There's more hanging Hoyas, right? Because there's the Hoya retusa that hangs a little bit. But this one, so pretty. It's just so delicate and light. It's not heavy. I will share, I did something to this plant recently. I was about 2 months ago, I added some cloning paste to the nodes, and it's giving me a new node. You can see the node right here, and this plant's giving me a new node in 2 different areas. So there's this node, and then there's this node. I have 3 different areas of nodes that got activated. Wow. Wow. Okay, so this Hoya was quite a hard Hoya to find. I looked online and I only found it on Etsy where it was a reasonably priced for cutting. And that's kind of how this plant started, was from like 3 cuttings. And I had this last year, I think September of last year was when I got this plant, and it's grown so much for me. It really likes the IKEA greenhouse, and I'm going to leave it in there until the summer, and I'll probably acclimate it to the outside humidity. I do that with Hoyas. When I want a Hoya to grow, I stick it in my IKEA greenhouse cabinet and it starts to grow, and then I acclimate it out of there. Next plant is the Hoya Pubicalyx Splash. This one is a Pubicalyx Splash. I don't really know the difference with the Silver Splash and a Pubicalyx Splash because they look the same to me, except the Silver Splash looks a little bit more shinier. So this plant, I have it on a trellis. It's not grown too much for me since I've had it. I got this as a small cutting, and I made a trellis out of some of my jewelry wire because I didn't want it to be too heavy. I kind of wrapped it around the pot and made a trellis for it. I used a Kegi cloning plate paste on this as well, and it's giving me this node. And there are some other nodes that I feel is activating, but I guess we'll see. This is starting to get to grow. So yeah, really not much to share about this, but trellis on a Hoya is a great idea. The next plant is the Hoya Carnosa Crimson Queen. It is small. I got this plant closer to when I got the Compacta, and this was an unrooted cutting, so I didn't really take care of the cutting as well as I should, because now when I root a Hoya cutting, I put it in a propagation box with a lot of humidity so I can get some roots. I did not do that with this. I left it in water and it took a long time to root. But we have a fungus gnat. I don't like them. So, but we have a little bit of growth. It was just, it's like, it started with just a little tiny node, but now I have some growth on here, and the first leaf that came out was this one. How pretty is that? But yeah, it's growing. It's gonna take a while, I think, for it to grow. But I actually would probably I think this summer I might take a cutting from it and root it, and then I can get a fuller pot. It is a very pretty plant. I wish I had a bigger version of this, but I'm a patient person. I won't mind waiting for this plant to get bigger on its own through cuttings and propagating it again. Yeah, that is what I have. It's a Hoya Chelsea, and I just recently got some new growth on it. I kind of forgot about it. I had it in the propagation box, and then I took it out of the propagation box, and then we moved to this house and I forgot about it again. So I actually put it in soil a few months ago, and it's yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. It'll be a while. I did move this to the IKEA cabinet so it can get a little bit more established. So the next plant is the Hoya macrophylla. I bought this as a 4-inch plant a few months ago. It's not really done much since I got it. I did lose a leaf towards the bottom. It fell off. I can see that since I got it, I see some roots growing in there. So something is happening. I just don't have any growth from it, and I want to, but I'm patient again. It is a very pretty plant. I did have to clean it when I got it from hard water stains, but I used that lemon and water to clean the leaves to get it shiny again, and it worked. So very pretty. I love this plant. The next plant, I got this in October, and it has given me quite the vine. It definitely wants to climb. I'm gonna have to put this up on a trellis so I can get it to give me some leaves. I got these 2 new leaves since I got it, and they have definitely gotten bigger. I'm surprised that this Hoya's leaf is not as thick as the rest of them. I was quite surprised by that, and it's just really pretty. Look at how that veining is. This in the IKEA greenhouse cabinet, and which is probably why it's giving me this long vine. And if you even look at the pot, how much it's rooted since I got it, pretty cool. I will be putting it up on a trellis so it wouldn't just be flopping around. This one is the Hoya Retusa. It has done absolutely nothing since I got it in October. I got it with that other Hoya you just saw, and it's not done anything. I can tell that there's some roots growing in this pot that I put it in. So something is happening. It's just taken a while to get established. And from watching like other, oh yeah, there's a there's a growth right here. There's a growth right here, and a growth right here. Oh, it's growing. It's just taken a little minute or two. So okay, I see something's happening. I guess when you look closely at it, you can tell that there's something happening. But from far away, it looks like nothing is happening. The next one is the Hoya shepherdii, and it's not really done much for me. I got it with that same set of Hoyas you just saw. I do have a new growth point coming out right here on it. It is also sitting in the cabinet, and it's kind of dirty from hard water stains, and I have not had time to clean the leaves yet. I will definitely be doing that this weekend. Yeah, but this plant's very different. You see how this leaf is so thick. It's pretty cool. um I might have to just put it on a trellis since this vine is just flopping around. It's not done much for me, but it's a pretty beautiful Hoya still. Okay, so the next set of Hoyas I just got them about 2 weeks ago, and this one is the Hoya Wayetii. I think that's how you say it. And I actually watered it this morning. There was a little damage done to the leaf in the unpacking, but yeah, it's very pretty, very variegated, and um, like the older leaves are really thick, and the younger ones are not so thick. Wow, that leaf is super thick, but yeah, I'm excited to see this grow. It's still so small. I'm gonna be adding this to the IKEA cabinet over the weekend, and to see if I can get some. Uh-oh. I think that's a mealybug. Oh my gosh. I bet you it's not. I bet you it's not a mealybug, and I'm freaking out. I bet you it's not. Well, let's find out. Perlite. It was perlite. Oh my goodness. I can't take it. I can't take this. All right. So now that is done, we're finding out that it was perlite on the leaf, not a mealybug. Hoya Wayetii. This Hoya came 2 weeks ago as well, and it is a Hoya Lisa. So pretty. I love when the leaves come in. This Hoya is different colors, and I am excited to see this grow. I've left it in the substrate it came in. I might move it to mine since mine is a little bit more chunky. I might just leave it in here. I'm not sure. This mix is not as chunky as mine, but I might move it to mine or I might leave it in here. I'm going to be moving this to the cabinet this evening. So I'm going to give the leaves a little clean and then move it to the IKEA greenhouse cabinet so it can do its thing and give me some leaves. Now that you've seen my collection, let me know what Hoyas that I still need to get. Which ones do you like? Tell me some Hoyas that you're getting this summer. Or let's have a Hoya chat in the comments today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next week.